So this particular chapter has kind of a lot to do, so that's why it's open a little bit longer. But the nutritious eating has quite a bit in it, and some of it you might be comfortable with and some of it you might not be. But part of the assignment is doing looking at the nutritional guidelines, taking a look at what kind of caloric intake is right for you, and identifying what kind of vitamins, minerals, or nutrients are lacking in your diet and what sort of foods could be added to make it work out so it's more balanced. So, does environment and mood affect your food choices? And I'm going to hear a heck yes, it does, because I know that whenever you get together with family, or perhaps when you're feeling excited or we celebrate around food and beverage all the time. And so I think that environment and mood does have a pretty big impact. Now, when you look at stress, stress does activates the sympathetic nervous system, which causes your stomach and the digestive process to slow down, and you end up having food that seems like it's in your belly and super heavy and can make you feel uncomfortable. Digestion is slowed down and it just makes you not feel well. Some individuals will suffer from extreme, maybe irritable bowel syndrome, perhaps stomach aches, cramps, etc. The interesting thing to me is that there are so many neurons that are located in your digestive system that are going to be releasing serotonin, which is one of the body's feel-good neurotransmitters. And so part of our brain health, your gut and your brain are actually really linked. And so you say, why am I eating this food? It's partially associated with that brain digestive connection. So if you eat in a relaxed manner, we tend to have better digestion. We tend to feel better. So when we eat a good diet, in fact, what we have is we have a diet versus dieting. I think this is an important separation. A diet is just your pattern of eating, and dieting is thought to be or defined to be food restriction. Ideally, people diet for the intention of losing weight. And so our diet is what we eat. And what we eat is influenced by our emotions, availability, our environment, perhaps, let's just say it, our taste, our attitude. All of those components are going to influence our overall pattern of food intake. And our food has macronutrients, which are measured in grams, and those are water, protein, fat, oils, and carbohydrates. Those are in grams. Vitamins and minerals are the micronutrients, and those are in micrograms. And then we have some nutrients that need to be consumed. Those are called our essential nutrients that need to be consumed. Our body cannot make them. So the chapter is going to go about discussing these different components. And one of the things that I've learned from friends that are registered dietitians is that nutritious eating is it's an overall practice of not identifying food as good or bad. It's looking at food and identifying what that food can offer you and balancing it with other foods that you're consuming. So protein primarily is complete or incomplete, and it's incomplete if it has one or more essential amino acids that is not contained in that food. Animal sources, salmon, for example, fish, lamb, beef, chicken, turkey, goat, what am I missing? Pig, Those are animal sources of protein that tend to have all of the essential proteins, and they're referred to as complete. Vegetarians and vegans who do not eat animal sources of protein will eat incomplete sources of protein in the source of plants, and that might be beans, legumes, which is a fun word to say, nuts, walnuts, pecans. Walnuts are so good, aren't they? Legumes come in so many, lentils come in different colors. There's just mung beans, so many different things. And whole grains also have protein. The lipids are the fats and oils. They can be in the form of a liquid, a solid, or we can get lipids in our seeds and grains and nuts. So our body does need lipids. We have omega-3 and omega-6. Omega-6 is found a lot in green leafy vegetables. And omega-3 is found in fish and vegetable oils. And the omega-3 are the ones that we really want to try to get a little bit more of in our diet. We find them in tropical nuts and oils. We also find them in vegetables, in primarily different forms, saturated, mono, unsaturated, and polyunsaturated, and that has to do with the structure. Saturated fat is typically solid at room temperature. Mono and poly are typically liquid at room temperature. we're mainly water, so we need to fill that water tank every day. You can't go more than 3 days without getting liquid. And we get our liquid through directly by drinking straight water, and we also get it in some of our food. If you had any watermelon or fruit or soup, um, you're going to get water along with that carbohydrate. So I ate a cup of soup or a mug of soup today, and that was one of my sources of water that I had. And water is necessary for life, and truly, it's necessary to make sure that we have good metabolism. The guidelines for nutritious eating, they're being worked on again. There was the summer, they're working on the nutrition guidelines again. Balance your calories, consume more whole grains or natural foods, and consume less sodium, less trans, less saturated fat, and less sugar and refined grains. And the My Plate is still available. Choose My Plate. It's a simple way of looking at how you want to kind of divide your plate in terms of what every meal should have. You'll see that 20% or 1/5 of your nutrients should be fruit and protein each. So that would be 2/5. And then you have almost 1/3 of your total plate be consisting of whole grains and fruit. Or excuse me, vegetables. So one of the assignments is to look at your nutritional analysis and then to determine what do I have too much of and what do I have not enough of. Nutritious eating is necessary for us to have energy balance, and we have energy systems in place. When you jump and run, then you have the rapid energy system, and that's called the ATP energy system, or ATP-PC. You got enough for 10 seconds, and the overlapping with that is your anaerobic energy system, and that's there for that quick burst. So the ATP energy system kind of primes the pump. Then the anaerobic energy system is there to allow you to do a real quick burst. And then the anaerobic energy system is necessary for continuous activities. So when you first go out for a run, your ATP-PC tunes up, starts going, anaerobic energy system crank starts moving, and then it will begin to feed into the aerobic energy system, and that is your primary system when you do long continuous activity. Do a little bit of activity with looking at food labels in terms of what a serving size is, and the serving size is not always what you think. So it's always good to take a look at what the basis of that nutrition percentage is, what that equals. You'll see the vitamins and minerals on the bottom, the saturated fat, and then also what the percentage of the daily 2,000 calorie diet equals. So knowing how to read a food label is pretty important. So you got a couple things to do on in this module. I've got a little bit of time to do it, but encourage you to do your best and not be worried, and just relax. If you're not doing great, that's okay. We all have days. I know I'm having them. Staying home has been really hard for me, and I think that we just need to be a little bit careful, a little bit more grace to how we manage our difficulties. So I wish you a good rest of the chapter. Hopefully you have your questions answered.